Okay, guys, I want to talk about superhero. This video will be kind of long. I'd greatly appreciate it as it would help the channel and it would help this video perform better if you listen to as much of it as you can. Put me on while you're driving, doing some chores, 1.5 times speed helps, whatever. Thank you for your support. Spoilers. Superhero was amazing. I enjoyed it so much. This movie is for the fans of characters that don't get a lot of spotlight. Well, there also are references, and you do see the main characters like Goku and Vegeta in spots in the movie, and they're fun too. Their sequences are hilarious. But this movie's for your characters that are that are not shown in stuff that often. Like Krillin and 18, I love them so much. Pan, Goten and Trunks are visually bigger now, a little bit older, but visually bigger as they should have been. Gohan, Piccolo. This movie is for the fans of these characters that don't get all the spotlight. Now, not everybody's here, like Tien, but like still, I loved it. Also, this movie has so many references and callbacks to not just the Cell Saga, that's the obvious one, but there are references and callbacks to different stuff in the series, and there's actually some lore and flat out explainers for some stuff that we didn't really, like we had an inkling of, but we didn't hear come from the mouths of these characters, that they didn't explain these things to us. So this movie's kind of all over the place. It's really not a lot of fighting. I mean, this movie has a fight in the beginning with the Gamma 2 and Piccolo, and then there's like 20 plus minutes, it feels like, of no fighting, and then there's a fight, and then they stop, and they start again, then they stop, and they start again. There's not a, it doesn't feel like there's a ton of fighting. I don't really mind that. I really did enjoy the slice of life kind of nature of this. Pan was so adorable to see. I loved her interactions with Piccolo and other characters, and it's just really interesting. The main point of this movie is that Pan gets kidnapped by the Red Ribbon Army. Gohan has to go save her. They unleash Cell Max, and it turns into a big old brawl. Gohan unlocks a new form. All the while, by the way, Piccolo did unlock 2 new forms, and the movie concludes with the defeat of Cell Max, and that's pretty much it. So I want to start off by talking about Goku and Vegeta, because like I said, they're not really, well, actually, before I say that, the main criticism of this movie is the CG, okay? I'm going to tell you, the movie looks really good. It actually looks awesome. It really did. And I'm not saying this because I was just a fan of these characters. Genuinely, I thought this movie looked really good. Now, that's not to compare, because I think you could have a preference. If you just like, because some people don't even like the new style in general. Maybe they just like old Z style, right? But that's not to compare. I think given the fact that it was in CG, and given the fact that Toei has a bad record of CG in these movies, and even in anime still, by the way, I think it looked really nice in general. The models are spot on a lot of the time, but there were some times where it didn't look good. It could have used more polish. It could have been cleaned up more. Like, they could have kept this one in the oven for a couple of months more just to polish out some scenes. And maybe by the time it gets released for home release, it'll be fixed. But it looked really good. And if that was holding you back, trust me, it's not worth not seeing the movie over. Like, I didn't watch it in cam rip because I was scared of that. But I feel like at least the high quality version would look really, really nice. And the thing is, like, your eyes adjust quickly. I didn't even notice anymore, unless outside of those couple of sequences, I didn't notice it was CG. If I'm being honest, it looked really nice. So I want to start off with Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. I love Broly in this movie. I love this new Broly so much. I love that. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of the old Broly, and it's fine if you like him better, but I really love this one because he has so much personality. He's so cool. He's so like naive and innocent. And they're basically all training on Whis' planet because apparently Beerus is asleep and Whis just invites whoever over. He doesn't really care, right? So they're training and Broly apparently rages out. He was about to snap, right? There's no transformations from these characters in this movie, by the way, which is interesting. But Broly was about to snap, and Goku's like, "No, Broly, stop. How many times have I told you when we're training, you don't have to go crazy, and you can," because they're trying to teach Broly, who's got crazy anger issues, which is a character flaw with him, and actually was a character flaw for the old Broly too. He's got these anger issues, and when he snaps, he loses himself. He's not himself, right? The thing about him is kind of weird, is like Super Saiyan naturally, going back to the original form anyway, was an anger-based transformation. So like, it's interesting to see that snaps Broly into higher levels of power like Fury Broly and Super Saiyan, but he can't control himself, right? So nonetheless, though, I really love Goku's interaction where he's telling him not to do that. It almost felt like, because he was scolding, and he really was, it almost felt like he was talking to his kid, because Broly, even though he's the same age as Goku, is so naive and innocent. And it's funny because Goku is that character compared to other characters. You know what I'm saying? Goku's the naive one. So it's just like, Goku being in the mature role just seems so funny to me. Anyways, and that's not to talk about how sometimes Goku's depicted as being dumb or whatever, because he's not, but he's very naive. He's always been that way. I'm getting an alarm, sorry. So I loved that so much. And there's another scene where I think it was Whis who suggested they do a 3-way like training brawl, and Vegeta's like, "What, train with Broly? Are you crazy? No way." Because he snaps. So they have to leave Broly on the sideline. They put him on timeout while Goku and Vegeta train. And Whis is like, okay, no transformations, blah, blah, blah. No big attacks that would destroy the planet. And they were like, Broly, please watch this and understand what it means to fight and not go crazy, basically. You can fight at your strength without going crazy, right? So he's benched, he's watching them, he's enjoying watching them. And then at the end, I'm going to just jump to the post-credit scene. Vegeta outlasts Goku because they were just like punching each other super soft. They were done. They were apparently fighting for hours. If you go based off of Earth time and the timeline that the movie takes place with. So yeah, and Broly is like in tears with Lembo. I loved it so much. Oh, by the way, before this, in the middle of the movie, not the post credits, Beerus does wake up and he has the hots for Chilai, dude. Chilai's over there robbing him blind. He's in love with her. So funny, so funny. Yeah, that big sack that people said was a baby or was potatoes. No, she was in there getting valuables. So funny. And Beerus was like, "Ooh, I like this one." And Whis was like, "Oh, Beerus has a type, clearly." I really enjoyed them, man. They were funny. They weren't in the movie that much, but they're funny. So I want to talk about Gohan. Now, Gohan has been on this character arc where he doesn't train, he gets rusty, and then he has to find his way back. They've done that with Gohan 3 times? 4 times. Something like that. Going back to the Buu Saga, same deal. The Earth, he got complacent after Cell in that time period. He focused on his studies, all that stuff. That's fine. The Earth was in peace for a long time. They do it like 3 times in Super, right? Including this movie. So I really wish they would just pick a side. Sorry, my mouth is really dry and I've got a little bit of a runny nose. I don't really mind the Gohan being a scholar. I enjoy that with him. For the record, this guy is a nerd. You have to understand, Gohan is not Goku. He is a nerd. He likes fighting. He would prefer not to fight if he doesn't want to have these earth-ending type of stakes. He would, if he had to just fight and train, he'd be cool with that. But he doesn't want to have those types of big fights, right? Anyways, if he has to, he'll participate. And I could elaborate a lot on that, so I'm not going to because of the length of the video. But just understand that he's not Goku. And Gohan is a nerd. He studies nature. He studies ants. He has a joke in this movie where he's like, "Look, Piccolo, this ant does this and that, and they can go Super Saiyan ant." And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy. And if you didn't know he was a nerd, you knew he was a nerd when he thought that the Great Saiyaman outfit back in the Buu Saga was the coolest thing ever. And everybody's like, even Kid Trunks is just like, yeah, no, buddy. That dude's like 8 years old telling him, no, that's not cool. Like, Gohan is different. He is what he is. He tells you the first scene you see him in Dragon Ball Z that, well, not the first scene, but the first episode. He's like, oh, well, I want to be a scholar. I don't blame Chi-Chi. I don't think she pushed him too heavily in that direction. I feel like as an adult, you can make your own choices. He's living what he wants to do, right? I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to have that for him, at least make him stay that way. I don't think that we need to be on this roller coaster with him. And I think that after this movie, he will sustain and finally get it through his thick, fat skull that he needs to train and sustain, because he literally has a line in this movie where he says, "Do I need to really? Because Goku and Vegeta are here." You know what I'm saying? And that's the epitome of the problem with the character, is that peace arises and he stops. He realizes Goku and Vegeta are there and he doesn't have to work as hard because they'll take care of it. And they tell you repeatedly throughout this movie, like they tell you repeatedly throughout the series, hilariously, it happens a couple times, but they tell you all the time, basically, that Gohan is a character with basically limitless potential. He could be the strongest out of everybody if he would apply himself, if he would train, if he would work at it. He could be the strongest out of everyone. They tell you this all the time with this character. All the time. It doesn't matter what arc it is. He grows quickly. They tell you this. And so again, it's nice to see the payoff with Gohan, but also understanding that he has a payoff in different parts of the series for this type of talk, where he goes Super Saiyan 2, he achieves it. He goes ultimate, he achieves it. In this movie, I'm not here to power scale Beast in particular, but let's just say he achieves it, right? Maybe it's not stronger than Goku. I don't know. This movie is a year out from the end of Z. So I can't really chart the timeline. I don't really keep up with the manga that heavily. I don't know if it takes place at the same time as the current manga stuff with the new Frieza form or whatever, Granola, Black. I don't know if it's after Moro, in between. I don't know, right? I can't chart it, and I'm not a power scaler. But he achieves it, right? So the thing with the Gohan is I would just love, and I think that after this, he would just sustain, right? He does have a couple really cool scenes in the movie. Like, there's that scene where the Grunt is like, oh yeah, we got your daughter, this and that. I thought it was so cool. He snaps. He's like, where is Pan? And he goes like Super Saiyan outside his house. His house is about to fall into this ditch he's created. Oh my God. And also, like, if you watch the post-credit scenes, they show a drawing of Adele showing up like, what the hell happened here? Look, she has the plush that Piccolo apparently likes but doesn't like. Yeah. He had a couple really cool moments. So I did enjoy him, like, and I loved him being the father that's here to save his daughter and all that stuff. But you know, he does fight these Gammas, and I think the Gammas are cool. And I loved how Piccolo in the beginning of the movie was like, why can I see their sound effects? They must have like some hologram projectors or whatever built in. So that's awesome. I love them. They're also really just funny characters. I love the Gammas. And I'm happy to see Gamma 1 is going to be a part of the character cast going forward. Again, there's a little bit of inconsistencies, a lot of inconsistencies really, with the anime, the manga, the movies, a lot of different possible like continuities. It's all super. So you would imagine they all take place. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. But until the anime comes back, adapts the manga, inevitably changes stuff from the manga, because you know they're going to do that. And they adapt this movie probably into the anime as well. You know, it's tough. You can't really, it's weird. So yeah, I'd love to see these characters and these forms that we see in this movie, like Orange Piccolo, sustain. But yeah, like the Gammas are here and they're fun characters. Gohan, actually, the thing about Gohan is also in this movie, they do this a lot throughout Super specifically. They use Super Saiyan as a form to show you his weakness. And that's weird because he's the only character that's really treated that way, because he's the only character that doesn't really need Super Saiyan to show you how powerful he is. And what I mean by that is not that these characters aren't strong in base form, because that's obviously not true, but the unlocking of his ultimate form was unlocking all of his power, his latent potential in said form, which again, like I said, is apparently limitless. Either that or a sliding scale. I'd imagine it's a sliding scale because that's how the rest of the freaking series is. Everything's a sliding scale. Otherwise, these characters wouldn't get any stronger. But yeah, Gohan's potential in that time, I guess, was ultimate unlocking all of that and giving that to him. The Elder Kai tells him just power up like you're going Super Saiyan, but you don't need to do that anymore. So Super Saiyan for Gohan exclusively has turned into, oh, this is to show his weakness, because he basically gets locked out of being able to go to his ultimate form. He can't get to it until he's maintained or gotten back to that level. In this movie, he has a rage catalyst and he gets back there. But this guy is so rusty in this movie and so out of shape, basically, which again, coming off the heels of the Turn of Power, which you would have thought he would have learned this arc again. Like I said, it's happened several times. You would have thought he would have sustained after that. He's so rusty in this movie that Pan is able to recognize Piccolo in his disguise instantly because of his key signature. Gohan doesn't. There's several moments where Gohan should have noticed this was Piccolo. He is directly beside him several times. Piccolo's faking, choking out Pan. Gohan is must be blinded by rage because he doesn't know what is going on. But you know what? No, that's not an excuse, because Piccolo literally shows up to his house and he's not masking his key, because there'd be no reason to do that. He's not hiding his key. He literally shows up to his house and scratches the nail on the window the same way he did earlier in the movie. And Gohan does the same exact reaction. Doesn't recognize that it's not Piccolo, or that it is Piccolo, right? He doesn't recognize. He doesn't. And Pan, a 3-year-old, notices instantly. So that's how rusty Gohan really is in this movie, which is just weird to see. But again, I think that after this, they'll sustain an arc for him. And eventually, throughout the fighting, he unlocks Ultimate again, and he's a lot stronger. And they tell us right here that after they're done fighting the Gammas, they tell us Gohan actually does need glasses, because Piccolo tosses him a Sensumine, and he fumbles it, just like in the Cell Saga. Or not the Cell Saga, the Buu Saga. That's another callback, right? There's a lot of little callbacks, like the Android 21 / Vomi stuff, the family tree in general for those characters. I think that there was a Ronfon picture on the desk of Magenta. There's and then Piccolo going huge later, just like he did in the tournament. There's a lot of callbacks. It's not just the Gohan transformation and blah blah. There's a lot of callbacks. But anyways, Gohan literally needs glasses though, in his base form. So he actually is blind. But Piccolo has a joke. He's like, well, do your eyes fix themselves when you go Super Saiyan? Apparently they do. And then, you know, it is what it is with him. And then Goten and Trunks show up, and they're actually bigger, which is funny because the Piccolo calls it out. He's like, well, it hasn't been that long since I've seen them. Who are these kids? Like, and they've gotten bigger, basically. And Gohan says what we already knew, because if you watch the original series, you knew this, that Saiyans stay small for a long time, and then they hit a growth spurt. Now, that is a contradictory thing, because Gohan himself didn't seem, there's a large portion of his life we don't really see of those years because of the Cell Saga, Buu Saga stuff. But it didn't seem like Gohan had to deal with that. Future Trunks didn't have to deal with that for what we saw as well. And he was the same age as this Trunks, who was still small. It was weird, right? It's inconsistent, but I guess for these guys, they did have to go through that, and they are actually bigger, and they're in the same age group. They're still, last time we saw them, they were 13, 14 or so. They're still 13, 14, 15 or so, but they're just huge now. And it's really cool to see that they've grown up in general. And like I said earlier, Pan is 3. This movie Pan is your perfect timeline tracker, because you know where things are. She's 4 at the end of Z. That's how old Pan is in that final episode of Z. If you thought Bra was older, Bra is not older, by the way. She's younger than Pan. So Bra's not in this movie at all, but she is younger than Pan. Even though I know GT depicts her as being older, they show her in different ways. She's taller, stuff like that. So anyways, Pan is a nice one, because that tells us that we're a year out from that Oob Goku stuff, right? So, man, this is very late timeline stuff. But that's got to get retconned. I mean, there's so much stuff that's happened, that's just not true. But the key point is that there's those callbacks, and Gohan eventually reaches the beast form, and there's another callback with Cell. And then also, there's even more callbacks that are kind of not as overt or open or out there, is Gohan using the special beam, which is amazing, by the way. He's using it, and he's using it on the foe while Piccolo is restraining them. That is a callback to the original arc with Raditz of Dragon Ball Z, right? That is a callback, literally, where it's Goku restraining a Piccolo special beam, and he charges it up and all that stuff. Now, in this case, Piccolo doesn't die as a result, because they didn't have to go through him. But there's stuff like that that's in here that is, like, if you're a fan of the series and a longtime fan and you've seen these things, you will enjoy this movie. You really will. Like, there are parallels to all parts of the series, not just the Cell Saga, which is the main talking point. It's all over the place. But I also really thought it was cool to see Gohan use the special beam, because Piccolo's like, where did you learn that? Like, I didn't teach you that. He's like, oh, I practiced it in secret. He's like, well, you looked really good doing it. And I was like, that's so awesome. That's so wholesome moment. I really wish we saw Beast more. We only saw Beast for a couple of minutes, man. But I did think it was funny, because Pan was awesome in this movie. I really enjoyed Pan. Like, she's so adorable. She's flying around and stuff at the end of the movie after not being able to fly until her life was in peril. Basically, she learns how to do it at the last possible second, which is awesome. Saiyan trope, apparently. So I love seeing Pan flying around at the end, and they're all cheering her on. And Goten and Trunks go to Gotenks. They don't even show the correct fusion, by the way. And all of them are hype about her, and she flies up to Gohan. She like tackles him and is like loving on him and stuff. I love that so much. There's also a scene where she's like sitting on his shoulders, and because she saw Beast Gohan's hair and the silhouette, that's how she knew that they were over there. And she goes over there after the silhouette, but they de-transform like instantly as soon as she arrives. I guess the power just wears off or whatever. She's sitting on his shoulders, and she's like playing with his hair. Like, where did that long hair go? Because his hair is crazy long. I love that so much. She's so adorable, man. She's so cool. I love her in this movie. And also in the Super series, where we see her a little bit. But I want to talk about a little bit about Goten and Trunks. Like I said, they got the glow up, the grow up. They were fun, but they also were just comedic relief. Anytime they're in anything outside of the initial parts of the Buu Saga where they're relevant, they're just comedic relief. And if they're fusing, they're comedic relief these days. I mean, going back to Battle of Gods, if they're fusing, they're comedic relief. So they do it. They get failed Gotenks, and apparently failed Gotenks can't go Super Saiyan, which is news to me. You would think you'd be able to go Super Saiyan. It's just kind of weird, though, because like also by that same vein, you have to use headcanon, because I'd imagine, for example, if Vegeta wanted to, he could go Super Saiyan 3 pretty easily, but he doesn't want to do it, so he doesn't do it. It is what it is. I imagine Gotenks can go Super Saiyan 2. In fact, there's a manga panel, and or maybe it's in the anime. It looks like he's going Super Saiyan 2. The first time he goes Super Saiyan 3 from Super Saiyan 1. His lightning's all around him. It looks like he went Super Saiyan 2 in between, but they don't reference it. They don't call it that. I feel like he could go Super Saiyan 2, but they don't show it really. He just goes Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan 3, just like Vegeta. Like, or, well, Super Saiyan 2 for Vegeta. You know my point. So, like, you have to use headcanon, I guess. But Gotenks apparently can't actually go Super Saiyan. Either that or he's just too weak or he didn't have the power for... I don't know what it is. But that's interesting world building for Gotenks. So, the thing about the failed Gotenks is that he is clearly a tank, though. Because there's one scene that was hilarious where they're launching him around like a volleyball. And he lands on Cell's head. And that had to be a catalyst. Because by that point, Cell's head got hit once. That one seemed to crack it a little bit. Like, it was part of the catalyst, right? And, you know, it's funny because really all these characters chip in their own way. I haven't talked about my guy yet, the GOAT of the movie, Krillin. But Krillin was so useful in a couple of scenes, like saving 18 with the Destructo disc. I love, by the way, the banter with him and Bulma. You gotta recognize that these characters have immense chemistry, all of them, but also Krillin and Bulma, because they're part of that original cast going all the way back. That's why people ask me, like, why do I like Krillin so much? It's because, for one, Krillin's just a good drawn character. Like, he has good story. Krillin's family. Krillin is a good written character. But a large part of it comes back to the original series. Krillin was a huge part of the original series. So, and that was before, you know, even him, like Yamcha Tien, that was before all these characters started becoming too strong to keep up with, right? Krillin has a huge part of the Cell Saga too. Some integration in the Buu Saga. Krillin is an awesome character. He really is. He's not just a meme because he gets blown up. Like, he dies. Like, so what? Everybody dies, really. Anyways, I love him. He had a couple really good scenes. The Destructo disc. Him and 18, I love their relationship. I always love it in Super. Like that one episode where he fights like Goku. Goku punches him around the world. 18's all patching him up. And I love it. I love him so much. That's why I said, like, this movie is for these types of characters. Seriously. It's not really a fighting movie the entire time. There's a lot of not fighting, right? But he's useful. Destructo disc. He helps Piccolo. He gives Piccolo the idea to go kaiju, just like he did in the Dragon Ball series. So there's just like, or huge, you know. There's a lot of stuff. I guess my one thing I don't love is that we didn't see more of Beast Gohan. That's really it. Like, I don't really have any other criticisms. Like, I guess that was it. If you consider the like, I would love to have seen more Broly, right? But, like, not really much Goku and Vegeta, but more Broly would have been nice. But if you consider the context that they were taking these characters out of the movie, still had them in to a degree, I'm fine with what we got. So, all in all, Superhero was a fun time. Check the movie out. If you can, support the movie. Apparently, there is a lot of talk, I know there is, about promotion for this movie. Apparently, it's still going to do good regardless, because it's in a lot of theaters. A lot of theaters. I have to imagine Broly was the reason why, because Broly was really successful and wasn't in it was in like half the theaters that this movie's in. So you go see this movie when it pops up for you, when you get the opportunity to support the movie and stuff like that. That's not to tell them that you want to see more of only these characters or this animation style, just to support the series in general. It's a big deal for anime in general too, because it means that they'll be more willing to bring some of these movies out worldwide. That's the point. Like, it's huge for anime in general. It's not a debate. It's not between this part of the series or this series or that series. It's just in general an anime thing to support these products when we get them. Otherwise, they'll stay specific to Japan more often than not. So check it out. Hope you all enjoyed. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite part of the movie was down below, and I'll see all of you guys next time.